Ooh, have you ever watched a really great movie? How about a horror flick or a thriller? Oh, I love crime thrillers. They're just awesome. So suspenseful and exciting. Hey, today I have been reflecting on some of the more frightening moments in my life. I have no idea why I've been thinking like this. And nothing bad has happened, but I've been reflecting on some events in my life that perhaps were a little bit scary, in fact, quite a bit. And one keeps coming to mind. In fact, I was just telling a friend the other day about this situation that happened quite a few years ago when I was quite young, living in my very first apartment by myself. Of course, I had some assistants in the building, 24 hours round the clock. Whenever I needed, I could just call someone down the hall. It was an apartment building that had a few apartments that were accessible, and they had an organization, and I could phone them. I had a schedule with them for about an hour a day. That was it. I was very mobile. Those were the early days with my SMA. I was in my late teens, early 20s. And as a person with spinal muscular atrophy, of course, type 2, I had a little bit more mobility than others. However, as my life was progressing, so with the disorder, and I was getting weaker and weaker. Anyway, my story begins when I was about 20 or 21 years old, living in my first apartment by myself, as I said. And it was a lovely Saturday afternoon. I was coming back from college. It was about 1 p.m. And I was living in a gorgeous building, but in a really rough neighborhood. I would not recommend living there. It was in downtown Toronto, biggest city in Canada. I loved Toronto, but unfortunately, the area that I lived in was not safe. So I returned from college, and I went into the back door, and that building had a 2-level entrance, so you can come in through the back, and there was a balcony, like a loft platform at the top where you can access the elevators to go up to the apartments. And then there was a downstairs level, which was at the front of the building in a co-op community. That's where I lived. And anyway, I was on the second level. I digress, sorry. I was on the second level, and I was going to get in the elevator. I pressed the button, and I looked down over the railing of the balcony. I saw 2 men at the bottom, and they looked a little suspicious, like they didn't belong there. They looked like they were either drunk or on drugs. I don't want to judge, but they did not look right. And one of them looked up and saw me and literally bolted up the stairs and up to where I was and jumped in the elevator with me. For a split second, I thought, oh, maybe he just wanted the elevator. But then as the door closed, it dawned on me that no, this guy is up to no good. He started to say things that were highly inappropriate. Then he started to touch my hair, and very quickly started touching. It went down to touching my body. And of course, I panicked like you would not believe. And for a split second, I was like frightened and I couldn't even move. But then my instinct overdrive kicked in, and I put my power chair on full speed and backed up super hard on top of him. on his legs and his feet. And he screamed, of course. And thankfully, the door opened right at that point, and I went super fast as my chair could take me, down the hall on the floor where I lived, but not to my apartment. I went in the other direction to an apartment that I knew there would be someone there, and they always had their door open. I went flying in, slammed the door shut, and they called the police. So problem was resolved. However, as I was pondering this today, I started looking up self-defense classes for people with mobility limitations like mine. And I was so pleased to discover that here in the great city of Montreal in Quebec, Canada, there are so many self-defense classes for people with disabilities. And in fact, I'm actually going to phone one maybe today and make some inquiries. There are also bloggers who have adaptive aids for self-defense for people with disabilities. I might be checking that out. Maybe I'm thinking this way because now that I'm taking Risdiplam and I'm starting to feel more energetic and feeling more mobile. I'm so excited for the warm weather because I plan on venturing around my neighborhood by myself a little bit more and discovering my new neighborhood and my new city. However, I just want to be safe. That's my story for today. Nothing bad has happened. Nothing bad will happen. I know it. I guess I'm just being a little self-preserved or self-protective, however you want to say it. And that is it. That's it for my story for today. Enjoy your movies as I will continue watching. Adios or au revoir, as they say in Quebec.